Hello, everybody. This is Eric Virathaler of Virathaler Studios back again for the next episode of Sit Down by the Fire. And I am here with my co host, Ty from Junebug Films. We are here with our next special guest. Please introduce yourself.
Hi there. My name is Derek Sorrell. I'm an actor here in Montana, and I've been invited on to speak a little bit about what I'm doing.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we also want to thank you for taking time out of your day to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So I guess my first question. So what started your whole journey?
This is a very long story, actually.
Okay.
We got time.
I do imagine you guys have time. Well, I was always interested in like behind the scenes stuff when I was a kid. I didn't really have a whole lot, but I did have I didn't have cable. I didn't have a lot of things, but I did have, some movies and things, and I would end up watching those movies like over and over and over, and I would watch like the special effects, like behind the scenes and stuff like that. And around like elementary, middle school, fifth, sixth grade, I started doing like theater and things like that, like the Missoula Children's Theater and stuff like that. So I was always kind of a theater kid.
Right.
When I was 14, they ended up doing a film down in Havre called Winter in the Blood, and it was a James Welch novel that they had turned into a film. And so they were looking for young Native American kids. And so I ended up going down to Great Falls to audition for that. And unfortunately, I wasn't mean enough at the time to be the bully. Um, but I did get to play one of his friends, and so we got to beat up the young versions of the main characters in a flashback fight scene. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
And after that, I think I really, really wanted to be in film. I really wanted to be on film sets. I liked being there. It was like a play, but so much bigger. And I got to tell everybody, hey, I was in a film. I ended up kind of losing my way, so to speak. Dropped out of school and whatnot. By the time I was 21, and I kind of forgot that I ever wanted to do film and act, but I was reminded of what I wanted to do and who I was. And so I started pursuing that again. And for the past, you know, I'm 28 now. I started again when I was 23. So the past 5 years have been just pretty incredible, honestly. I didn't think that Montana had so many opportunities that there are. And I really hope that this next Media Act bill passes so that we can continue to make these stories and these films. And
Certainly.
there
Yeah.
are more opportunities.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope
yeah. Certainly, yeah. And yeah, and I am definitely really glad that I went to that one event like that I saw you at in Polson, just to show my support and yeah, and I mean that would really really suck if that bill doesn't pass because I mean we definitely will have to come up with something, just to be able to make that happen. But hey, and I mean seeing that like that they all work hard at it. I mean, I'm definitely pretty sure that they can find something.
I hope that it passes in Kansas as well, because there's a bill going right now that Kansas will get a 30% tax incentive for film opportunities in Kansas.
That's pretty good.
It is, yeah, definitely.
And luckily, our governor is decent
Which is good,
for,
yeah.
for her party. But so I have a question. So did you? So So you bullied that kid to get that damn lunch money, right?
No, okay. So the audition actually was something along the lines of that. So there was a kid sitting at the cafeteria, and I was supposed to make them move because that was my seat.
Right.
And I just at the time I just was not mean enough. I mean, nowadays I'm sure I wouldn't have a problem pulling that off, but little old me back then, I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it.
So what he's saying is he was too much of a softie, right?
Yeah, he was. He was that little guy back then. Yeah, it was really
Uh,
cool though because I got to still participate and I got to be in that film. I got to. It was a really cool fight scene. It's like really. It's a flashback, so it's like really like insert and like jump cutty. But I get to punch the kid. I get to kick him in the gut, and then I
Wow.
I elbow I elbow his brother as he tries to like get me off of him.
man,
So
man,
it's
he's
pretty
a
cool, and I get a good shot. I'm standing right now. I think his name is Long Knife. I'm pretty sure his name is Long Knife, but I'm standing right behind him. When he cracks a joke, everybody laughs, and like I'm right behind him. So it was pretty cool, pretty good exposure. Oh, and Lily Gladstone was also in that film.
Nice.
mm,
Yeah,
That
I didn't know that at the time, but like growing up, it's like holy, I got to work with her.
yeah, and on top of that, I also saw that you got to do a movie with Eric Roberts, like with that vampire movie Kung Fu Slayers,
Kung
right?
Fu Slayers, yes, Kung Fu Slayers.
That is awesome.
It's the sequel to Chinese speaking vampires.
Oh, I had no idea that it's a sequel.
It is indeed a sequel.
Oh,
The first
well, that's
one,
pretty
I
sweet.
I think it's still on Tubi. I'm not sure, but Chinese speaking vampires. It was a little indie film, made enough money, and Davey wanted to make a sequel, and so he brought it to Montana.
well,
Maybe said it's called Chinese. What? Sorry.
Chinese speaking vampires is the first film.
is he gonna make a
I'm gonna look that up now.
Yeah, go ahead, give it a Google search. The premise
what,
is basically Davey is an aspiring actor, and so his character is an aspiring actor, and so he's going out and he's looking for like jobs and whatnot, and he's trying to nail this audition, but he needs to speak fluent Mandarin. He can't, not fluently, and so he goes out there and he sees a flyer, and the flyer is it's an advertisement for Mandarin classes, right? And the whole gist of it is it's led by Mr. Ma, who's a vampire, and when he bites you, you instantly speak fluent Mandarin, and that's the basis of the film. And so he goes there
hmm,
and he gets bit so that he can learn Mandarin and be in this film.
what's
But
the
now he's a vampire.
what's the man? What's he gonna do with the third one of the series? I wonder.
Oh my gosh. No, I think there's talks about a possible third one, but the second one is filmed. It's in post production. I've seen a couple trailers out for it now. I don't have you seen anything for it, Eric?
I'm sorry. I just got sidetracked and like by checking out the IMDb page of Chinese speaking vampires. And so I got completely sidetracked. And
real
so
real professional.
but yeah, I'm sorry, but yeah, but anyways, what was your question? Sorry.
Oh,
About
have you heard anything? Have you seen any of the trailers for it on Facebook?
Yes, I have. Yeah, and yeah, and then there also was that brief moment in the trailer where I saw you. Was like, I know him.
Yes, I played one of the vampires in Kung Fu Slayers.
Yeah, right. And I mean, I can imagine that must have been cool.
It was really fun. It was really fun. I was a huge fan of like the Lost Boys and all kinds of things growing up. So it was a great time.
Oh yeah, and I can imagine, man, especially doing a movie with Eric Roberts. That's
It
amazing.
was it was cool. It was cool. I didn't actually get to see him on that set
Well, that's a shame.
because it was filmed in Montana and his scenes were filmed in California. But because of that, Eric Roberts did come down for a little film called Mr. Pettigrew, which was a book by Larry J. Martin. I don't know if you've heard of that one either.
I have not known.
He's a writer down in here in Montana, and he's got I think like 80 some books now, and he started making films. So came
Awesome.
down. I think it was for like a day or 2 days. Did a couple things. He was here.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
That's
Uh,
awesome. Yeah, and from what I heard, Kung Fu Slayers is supposed to be coming out. I think like what, like this year or next year, right?
Well, it's November, so I'm thinking probably next year. I haven't heard anything about it coming out yet, so
I haven't either. No.
I'm still waiting.
there you go. Well, that's what I love about Eric Roberts. How that guy will do anything, you know.
Anything. Like when I say anything, I mean anything.
Well, except for those movies.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. Like as soon as I say that, the first thing that comes to my mind is that one part in the Mike Myers kind of had anything, anything.
Anything.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. When we say anything, Eric Roberts is not going to do those videos for you.
Hmm.
it was just it was a western.
Um, but no, I mean I've seen him in like some very bad Amityville movies, like where literally he's in a crappy Halloween costume, and I mean that with love because anybody who wants to go shoot a movie, awesome, but when you have a cheapo Halloween costume for your movie, it's like you're going to have to expect people to make fun of you a little bit. But
Yeah.
Eric Roberts in this very poor Halloween costume, and he's just like reading a book in the movie. I'm like, man, I guess he just really loves acting. So
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. If he's willing to do any movie, but yeah, as far as the bad costumes go, a few months ago, I got curious. I saw a movie called Sharkula on Tubi. Yeah, I mean, you heard me right. It's called Sharkula. I saw the movie. The Dracula costume is so bad. Even Spirit Halloween has better Dracula costumes, and I kid you not, they the budget was so low that they couldn't even afford CGI whatsoever for the shark. Instead, they used a toy shark.
well, I saw a movie, and I'm like, man, okay, Sharknado at least had its maybe somewhat of its charm, and that's saying something. But I saw one movie that came out like I think 2022, Catnado.
Well, isn't
Cat
that
made
perfect?
It was,
it.
and you know what? I have to admit this. I think I was too much of a pussy to watch it.
Oh, come on, man. You have got.
Oh,
Oh, come on, man. You have got to be kidding me.
I'm not meowing over that.
oh my goodness.
But no, I mean, but sometimes you watch those. But I Montana though. I mean, I would love to visit. It seems like it's a very I mean, the mountains look very beautiful in the movies I've seen where it was filmed in. Plus, I think you guys have a great history with film actors in general. I mean, Gary Cooper's from Montana, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some cool people from Montana that I had no idea were from Montana or even living here in Montana.
Ted Turner.
Wait, Ted Turner?
Yeah, Ted Turner lives in Montana.
I had no idea. And yeah, and I even know that even Michael Keaton like has a ranch down in Big Timber.
I think I think Kelly Clarkson has a house here somewhere. I think
Oh yeah.
even
That sounds right. Yeah. And yeah, but yeah, and I mean, yeah, and I mean, even Jim Carrey said like that back in 2020. He actually said that he bought himself a ranch down in Montana. So
wasn't that the story where he comes hitchhiking through Montana?
yep, yep,
Isn't that the one?
yep, yep.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and I believe that he stopped by Missoula, and how something was wrong with his car, and then yeah, and then Jim Carrey was saying like just
The
how happy
people
he was. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the people knew him or they didn't know him and they just helped him out and they took him out to dinner and gave him company while his car was getting fixed and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, now you guys just need to get Sonic the Hedgehog movies actually to be filmed in Montana, right?
No,
So,
that
since they actually take place in Montana, right?
that would be huge.
Definitely would be. Yeah, because I will not forget when I saw the first Sonic movie in theaters during those parts where it took place in Montana. I was like, well, isn't that ironic? But deep down, I knew that they didn't actually film it in Montana.
No, I mean it's kind of the same how like we can go, which is really nice about Montana too. I'll also shamelessly plug this. Montana is really great for scenery and
It is.
whatnot because you can go from having just pine trees and absolute dense forest, like general Montana, Rockies areas versus like Hot Springs, which is just flat desert with sagebrush and just nothingness, like could pass for Nevada, Utah, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I mean, being in Kansas, the great thing is like, you would think like they would actually film some like Superman here or something. They've never filmed a Superman movie in Kansas. I mean, the closest honestly is Superman, the movie from '78. For years, I actually thought that was Kansas because they actually made it look like Kansas. Um, but like, so there are some movies where it's like, when they film it in here, like, and it's supposed to be in Kansas, it's like, oh, I see a palm tree. I've never seen a palm tree here in Kansas. So
That's great.
um, I can't.
That's amazing.
So it's just like if you guys went, it's kind of the same thing. If you're like, oh, this takes place in Montana. Oh, there's a palm tree.
You know, as soon as you say that, reminds me of watching the original Halloween, like where it's supposed to take place in Illinois, but there's a few brief moments where you can see palm trees. It's like, okay, as soon as you see that, like right away that it's not actually Illinois.
Well, I mean, to be fair, in Canada, sometimes people do like grow those fake palm trees, but it's kind of hard to
Fair,
grow. It's kind of hard to grow a fake tree.
definitely, yeah. So yeah, so out of all the acting roles you have done, Derek, what would you say was the most fun that you ever had?
Oh, that's kind of hard, honestly, and it would probably come down to two roles, and that would be Kung Fu Slayers and Cuisine de l'Apocalypse. And those films were really, really like the premise of it was really fun. The characters were really fun, and the people on set were amazing. The costumes were really cool. In Kung Fu Slayers, I got to be a vampire. Like I said, it's something I've kind of always wanted to do. So, you know, not to scratch it off my bucket list or anything, but you know,
That is pretty awesome. And so then, in other words, you doing that movie was definitely a dream come true. Then.
So
it
that
was.
that movie definitely that was not a sucky experience.
No, it was a really great experience.
Oh come on! Oh
Sounds
come
like
on! Come on! I can't play. And sometimes those damn puns don't land.
Uh,
man. But yeah, that sure was fantastic.
oh my gosh.
So
but yeah, didn't like that latter movie, Cuisine,
Cuisine de l'Apocalypse.
yeah, I'm sorry. It has a name that's that kind of rolls off my tongue. But yeah,
No,
yeah, didn't like that just come out?
so it's actually they've been doing screenings of it. So there was the first screening in Missoula at the Wilma. They did a screening for it at the Wilma, and then they did a screening for it in Helena at the Myrna Loy.
Really funny that you mentioned that theater, because one of the horror movies I was in this year, actually was filmed there.
now there's another
That's
actor,
cool.
famous actress. There's another famous actress from Montana. One of the queens of Hollywood,
Who?
Myrna Loy.
Okay.
Um,
I was not aware.
Yeah, and I
damn,
also even saw. Oh,
damn my
sorry.
old Hollywood knowledge.
Yeah, and I also even saw that even Joe Johnson, like who directed the third Jurassic Park, and he did the Wolfman. But yeah, he's actually from Montana too.
That's cool. That's cool.
It is, yeah.
Wolfman.
Yeah, speaking of Wolfman, I actually saw that they're coming out with a new one in January.
I did see that as well. I did see that as well.
What are
It looks
your thoughts on that?
We'll see. Have you seen? I think was it that Anthony Hopkins was the last Wolfman that they did?
Yes, I
mhm.
did. Yeah, and that actually was the first R-rated movie that. Now, I mean it. I mean, it wasn't my first R-rated movie in theaters, but it came out when I was 17. And then at that time, legally, I finally could, not have to bring an adult with me. And so that was nice.
Mhm. Um, I don't know. It looks interesting. See, you know, I actually wish they would adapt that script, adapt the movie that's now lost. It was made in 1913 of a werewolf movie.
Okay.
It's lost, but the story was about you might find this one interesting. He was a Native American who kind of put a werewolf curse on a guy and everything. Went back to kind of it would be kind of interesting to see that. Because I like that idea. You could do something. You could do something with that. You know.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. I just hope that if I see that movie, I just hope I'll have a howling good time.
Well, I mean, keep in mind it's been lost since I think that was one of the very early films to go lost. So I mean, knock on wood, somebody finds it. But um, yeah, but and that's the interest in even with lost films. Legally, if you find it, you can own it for at least a few years.
Yeah, I mean, since that it's lost, wouldn't that technically make it public domain?
It's weird. It's a weird law because even though it was lost for so many years, you could, and if the trademark has lapsed, you could legally file a trademark on it. So
I've never heard of that.
it's happened before. Like some guy made a few $1 million when he found a copy of Metropolis. and then he put out the long version of it, and then made it to the point where, because copyright did not lapse, he then trademarked it, and for 15 years he made a few $1 million. You know,
Wow.
That's awesome.
so it can happen. And to think that I believe that copy of Metropolis was found in a private collection. So that's why if you ever find any film reels, just shut up and see what they have.
Yeah, certainly. So I guess my next question to Derek, I mean, considering that the current trend, like in horror movies, is to take advantage of public domain properties, and turn it into horror movies, like with Winnie the Pooh, and then recently Mickey Mouse when that hit public domain, and yeah, and I saw that they even are going to turn the Little Mermaid into a horror movie. I mean, seeing what they did to Ariel with like these like really really sharp teeth, I'm like, that's Ariel. So I guess in your own opinion, what are your thoughts on that current trend?
Um. Well, I mean, it is public domain.
Yeah.
You can do what you want. I think I think it's cool, but like in some way, it's like you got to leave some things as they are. I mean, there has a lot to do with like children and a lot of really good memories, nostalgia, things like that, and then
I mean,
you go on and you have them massacre a whole bunch of people. Just stating
I
that.
see fairy tales. I can actually understand it because it kind of goes back to that darker element of fairy tales. Because I mean, with little, especially one with Little Red Riding Hood, and with Little Red Riding Hood, we always just interpret it as a wolf. Well, wolf indicated predator, as in human. So the original story was literally a human going and killing grandma, and then doing questionable things to Little Red Riding Hood. It kind of, the horror movie elements and everything with these movies, with the fairy tales especially, it kind of brings fairy tales in a way back to its roots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
certainly, yeah.
you read the original stories before the Grimms kind of ironically made them less grim.
Uh-huh, yeah.
It really, I mean, some of them were dark.
Yeah, going back to the Little Mermaid, I mean, often we associate that name with like, being all innocent and whatnot, but the original fairy tale, it's dark. Oh my god, it is dark. Like how Ariel's just watching, you know, the one that she loves marry Ursula, and that she's dying a slow, painful death. I'm like, oh, that's so dark.
Well, even Hansel and Gretel. Um, See, the Grimm's later adapted the original. We're talking about the original ones that they published. Was it where it was? They never made it the stepmother. That was later additions. In the original versions, it's always the mother who is evil. It's like, wow. So in Hansel and Gretel, it's the mother who is putting the kids into the forest and having basically abandoning them. And it's like, oh wow. And you just hear this stuff and it's like, wow, so I honestly think that, but I don't know. Um
That's great parenting.
Oh,
oh yeah.
definitely.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Parenting done right.
we can't have food, so let's just abandon our children.
Give that parent an award.
Right. No, and to
Here
answer
you
your
go.
question, is that the award?
Yeah.
Uh,
That's amazing.
no, to answer your question from earlier though, so the whole Wolfman thing, I am actually kind of excited to see that there hasn't been a whole lot of werewolf movies lately. You
Not really.
know, the last thing we got was like some Twilight, some Hugh Jackman, Van Helsing. That was actually I did like that. I don't care what anybody says. I like Van Helsing.
Van
You
Helsing's
know,
fun.
And
Kate Beckinsale.
yeah, and I saw that in theaters 20 years ago, and man, I feel old, and I mean, considering that, yeah,
No, has it been that long?
2004, yeah,
I was 8. No way. There's no way. That's
yep,
crazy. That
2004,
is nuts.
and then considering afterwards, it actually wasn't until after I saw that movie, like, was when I first saw the Boris Karloff Frankenstein, Bela Lugosi Dracula, the Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman, and yeah, like, holy crap, I feel old.
That is nuts. Another couple like werewolf movies that really stood out for me is like was it Ginger Snaps?
Yeah.
Dog
Yeah,
Soldiers.
Dog Soldiers.
Um,
Yeah, and probably one of my favorite werewolf movies. It's in a lot of people's tops favorites for a really good reason. Definitely an American Werewolf in London.
Teen Wolf.
I
Teen
saw
Wolf,
that
yeah.
for the first time, like I think like a year or so ago, and I did enjoy it. I can't remember what I so I left it. So I ended up watching that on Tubi, right? And so I
Mm.
watched that, and I can't remember what came on afterwards, but I just let it play, and I fell asleep. And by the time I woke up, there was there was a film playing, and it was like the final scenes of the film, and it was a werewolf
Oh,
thing.
oh, so he saw the infamous ending in Teen Wolf then, right? Have you heard about that one?
No,
There's a guy they pan up and there's a guy who flashes the camera in Teen
wow,
Wolf and like it's like and like you can clearly they actually from in 4K they think it looks like a woman that did it, but we're talking pants like you could just see like what flashes the camera and it's like talk about a really weird moment to they made but they it's weird it's not even like a full on flash they play it like they're itching down there it's like but their pants are unzipped.
um, I can't remember what blooper it is. I keep seeing it on like reels and things, but there was a film and one of the extras. It was like some kind of apocalypse scene or something. There's like something coming in from the ocean, like a wave or like something coming in from the ocean, and one of the extras pants the other extra as everyone's
Oh my
trying to run
god.
away.
Well, it's just like in Back to the Future. There's the weird shot of the where Back to the Future 3, where like it's one of Doc's kids is pointing, like he's like I think he's actually he must be signaling to like Robert Zemeckis he has to go to the bathroom or something because the way he's like signaling, it's like it's because he had been like 5 years old, so it's like 5-year-olds, like, hey, I have to go to the bathroom, but he's trying to be a professional actor.
Uh-huh.
But no, it's some of those shots and those mistakes in movies are kind of funny to watch. That's what makes movies sometimes have their charm. And because like not when you see the mistake, but like the movie's still amazing.
Certainly, yeah. Certainly, yeah. And yeah, and about that, somebody pointed out to me, I don't remember who, but a few mistakes in Jurassic Park. And ever since that, I just can't watch the movie now and not notice it. Like how during the kitchen scene where where the raptor first is going into the kitchen, very briefly, you can see a hand touching the raptor's tail. And ever since then, every time I watch that movie, it's like it's
Wait,
like now I can't unsee it.
wait a minute. So are we saying that somebody bad touched the raptor? Um, no, well, I mean, but I mean, and
Yeah,
that's
man. But yeah, man, you don't have to be sore about it.
Y'all are killing me.
You are killing me,
no,
Sauls.
you know, but no, Eric, Eric, you wrote, I love one of the things you wrote. You've written some pretty amazing scripts, with especially Dumb of the Dead. Did you ever tell him about that one?
Yeah, I haven't told Derek. So, a few years ago, somebody asked me to write a zombie movie. So I did, but I had a hard time coming up with a concept because, there's been so many zombie movies. Then one day I just popped in Beavis and Butthead, and then the idea came to my head. I'm like, hey, I should have two Beavis and Butthead like characters fighting against zombies, but I successfully made characters even dumber than Beavis and Butthead.
Oh man,
That's quite the accomplishment.
I would never have thought Beavis and Butthead was a a wellspring of inspiration.
But for me, it was. And yeah, and I mean, I just thought that idea just sounded really funny, like about two idiot Beavis and Butthead like characters. Now, legally, I couldn't make them Beavis and Butthead, due to copyright and trademark. So, and then that's when I thought, okay, they could be Beavis and Butthead like characters. And yeah, and my friend Ty here read the script, and he said that he was bursting out in laughter reading it.
Well, see, as somebody who wants to, per, wants to be more the Hollywood mogul guy and everything, or even independent mogul with it when it comes to that, and helping people make their script. I'm gonna be sometimes I have to tell people, I have to be honest with people because I'm not going to lie to people about their scripts. So sometimes I have to um, be a little, a little honest with them, and so sometimes I have to sit there and tell people, "Hey, I'm sorry. Uh, this I have to tell them this sucks."
Right.
But Eric, was one of the best ones I ever read, and because like I've read scripts where it's like, dude, how much do you want to do this for? They said, oh, I think I could do it for $100,000. I said, dude, this is like a $300 million movie in your script. Tone it down. I can't find investors for this. They sit there. They told me, oh, well, you could go contact Elon Musk. Like, no, Elon Musk is not going to fund this.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Contact Daddy Musk. It's got it.
yeah. He's not going to fund this, dude. I do believe go big or go home, but within reason.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a film in itself. Like the journey to ask Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I considering there's an entire documentary about a guy. It's called Night Date with Drew. It's about a guy. It's about a guy trying to get a date with Drew Barrymore.
And spoilers at the very end, he does.
Yeah, he does, but mainly because Drew felt sorry for him. But say what we ever want about Drew Barrymore, but the fact that she went on a date with the guy says a lot about her.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Because I mean, come on. I guess if Eric or one of you guys gets famous and somebody makes an entire documentary about going on a date with one of you guys, it's like, yeah, I guess I'll go on a date with the girl. So
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, and I mean, ultimately, we have to remember that all these famous actors and actresses. I mean, we have to remember at the very end of the day, they are people too.
well, but there have been famous people that have married their fans. So
There has, yes.
I mean, I know Carrie Russell married her fan. I mean, one of her fans, and he was just an average Joe Carpenter. And well, now they're no longer together, but at least they were married for a while. Elizabeth Taylor even married one of her fans. So
That's cool. So Derek, are there any actors that you have not worked with yet who you would want to?
Oh my god. So there was always ever since the whole Yellowstone 1923 thing, I nobody is ever confirmed or denied. I haven't heard anything about it, and especially since the whole tax cut thing. 1944. One of the people they talked about getting into 1944 was Kurt Russell, and I feel like if I was ever on set with Kurt Russell, I would just pass away.
That would be amazing.
well, no, that would be cool. I a No, I mean, no, Kurt, from what all I've heard, is just like a very chill guy, you know. So,
Yeah,
um,
I go ahead.
no, I know a former boss of mine used to do his dad's his tree trimmer. So, and I said
Wow.
that Kurt Kurt just after we were done trimming trees, he offered he like bought all the guy's beer afterwards. So for
That's
trimming his
cool.
for trimming his trees, I'm like, but like, and then and and then the only thing he said is they said they love what he said. Don't tell Goldie. But
Thank you, Goldie.
he's just a really cool guy from what all I've heard because he has a place up in Colorado. So
That's really cool. That's really cool. Now, Kurt Russell, like, so recently, I was always a huge fan of like voice acting and stuff like animated things, and so I wanted to be a voice actor before I wanted to actually be an actor, but I found out it's really hard to get behind a mic. It's a lot easier to get in front of a camera than it is a microphone. You got to have your own studio, your own setup. You got to have a demo reel for anybody to even take you seriously and all that. But it's like somebody asked me what my top five, voice actors could be. I name that off the top of my head. But somebody asked me what my top five like screen actors were, and I had a tougher time answering that. Kurt Russell is definitely on my list. Growing up, like The Fox and the Hound was really, really good. That was a huge part of my childhood, if I'm being honest with you. He played the fox in Fox and the Hound. And was it Tombstone was probably one of my mom's favorite films.
oh,
And he
wow.
played, I think he played Wyatt Earp in
Yeah.
that. And there was The Thing, Escape from New York,
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China,
John.
like
Yep. John Carpenter.
John Carpenter. All of his like John Carpenter just picked him up and just ran.
Um, what that's one thing I love about I love just Kurt in the thing because he was second choice to play Han Solo. Look at Mr. Show Off here.
Yeah.
Um,
As soon as he said John Carpenter, it's like I gotta do it.
but this, as we know, Han Solo was going to be he. Kurt Russell was second choice actually.
He was actually, and it was someone else too, but I can't remember who.
There was an actor named Glenn Thurman who was going to do it originally, and he was. I mean, he was a black actor, and just I guess George thought he would be better for Lando because he thought maybe Lando, but then Glenn just couldn't do it at that time, so then they got Billy D. Williams. But I feel like Kurt Russell's performance as R.J. McCready is like as close as we can get to seeing him as Han Solo, and
Yeah,
I
definitely.
really would love to see. I hope they do it. I hope they don't do that remake of the thing they're talking about. Just make a sequel with Kurt Russell.
Well, so it's actually really cool. I heard about that, and so what I heard was that they're having Kurt Russell's son pick up where they left off. His
Okay.
his son his son looks exactly like, it's almost like Ice Cube, like how his son
Yeah,
looks
Like,
exactly like him.
well, see, I had there's a H.P. Lovecraft book called. Now I know before any Lovecraft fans go after me. Yes, I am well aware that this book came first. But if you read the book and you tweak a few things, it would be a perfect sequel to the thing. Um, at the at the Mountains of Madness.
At the Mountain of Madness.
That
yes, I
that
love that movie.
at the Mountains of Madness, not at the Mountain of Madness.
Oh,
But
sorry.
but
Sorry.
this book, if you read it and you kind of tweak a few things, it would be a perfect sequel to the thing. And plus, like, because it takes place in Antarctica, but then like they find this like world in Antarctica, and so basically that could explain the age. Like why RJ McCready looks older because he's been in this other world for however many years. That's how he
Mm.
survived and everything. And you could just tweak a few things, and it would be. They were going to do a movie with it. Guillermo del Toro was going to make it, and Tom Cruise was going to be in it. But they wanted to go for an R rating, practical effects, and everything, and the studio said no. So, but I think if you tweak a few things, it could definitely work.
I
You
think
know,
yeah.
Tom Cruise already, he was already in that Mummy movie. Leave the thing alone.
He was. Oh my god. I saw that Tom Cruise Mummy in theaters. I will never forget leaving the theater just feeling so underwhelmed.
Yeah, and I like you, Tom, but you might worship aliens, but you seem like a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, and then knowing that that movie was supposed to kick off an entire cinematic universe, and yeah, and then knowing that that's the only movie in that entire universe. Ouch.
Well,
Right, like the Mummy, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man or whatever.
Fine and all that.
it was. I had a hard time seeing the Invisible Man.
Uh,
But it was good. I just couldn't see it. So, um,
Oh, so and what's really funny, so Dwayne Johnson was supposed to play the Wolfman in that movie, and then interesting choice. But if you think that's interesting, he almost was going to be Willy Wonka in the Tim Burton, probably the Chocolate Factory. And what they should have done, if that would have happened, they totally should have had Dwayne Johnson say in the movie, "Do you smell what Willy Wonka's cooking up in the chocolate factory?"
do you know what Wonka's cooking?
is that real? Was he actually
Yeah,
going
he
to
was the
play with?
he was the second choice. Johnny Depp was the first choice. I think even Patrick Stewart was one of the choices.
And get this, even Marilyn Manson almost was going to be Willy Wonka.
That, I feel like that might have been better than The Rock.
Yeah,
I the Rock is one of those actors where it's like, I'm sure if I had gazillions of dollars and whatnot, I'd probably, feel the same way. But it's more of like a paid personality than an actor. He goes in and does the same thing, says it the same way. He's always portraying the same character. It's like, it's not really any different.
but hey, I mean, ultimately, it's his charisma that sells, and I could maybe as one of the Oompa Loompas, I could definitely see Dwayne Johnson in that.
No, I just can't. I can't.
You know what? That could be funny. You have just all these little. You have all these little Oompa Loompas, and then you could do forced perspective to make a like.
And it's Dwayne Johnson.
Well, you
No,
could. Yeah, you could make an Oompa Loompa the size of on one actor we know.
Yeah, Daniel Gilchrist. But yeah, I was gonna say, they could always, like just make him look smaller, like with CGI, and
yeah,
all.
no. I cannot unsee that image that you conjured in my head of just him, being like 3 foot, just his face in the middle of that Oompa Loompa suit.
Somebody deep fake that.
Yeah, do it. And I also even heard one of the other choices to play Willy Wonka also was Adam Sandler.
It, it, it would have to be a Happy Madison film at that point.
You know what? That if he actually plays like speaking of that, they're making out of here's the funny thing I heard. They're making Happy Gilmore 2.
They are.
I actually, I, I actually saw something for Actors Access, and I put in for one of the. I think it was the Water Boy. I put in for that. Didn't hear anything back, but it was cool to see. There are things like that on Actors Access that you could have potential in getting.
So did it say if it's a remake or a sequel or what?
I assume it's a sequel. It says Happy Gilmore 2. I did see something online. There was a couple pictures. Ben Stiller, the guy who plays the mean dude in the retirement home. It
Yeah.
was a picture of him, and like his hair was all gray. So I do assume it's a sequel.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I'd be curious to sit there and see. I don't know. Out of all Adam Sandler's movies, what would be interesting is like Billy Madison too.
Yeah, the son of Billy Madison.
Well, I guess you. I mean, I don't know what you do with that. I mean, because I know Bridget Wilson hasn't acted in a while, which I hope she still has kept up with at least acting. But like, I don't know what you would even do with a sequel to Billy Madison, but it'd be interesting to see what they do.
So like the sequel is like the certificates for all of his degrees and everything just expired, and he has to go back to school with his kid.
That could
Yeah.
that could be well. So basically, it's a remake of Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, I guess right.
Oh, Eric,
Yeah.
would be really funny considering the villain in Billy Madison 2. Maybe you should play the son.
I don't
he would he would actually be perfect, I think. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you could do I could see him doing the no conditioner is better, no shampoo is better. Right? I could see you
Oh
doing
no.
so. I mean, I don't know
I would-
that one could be funny if he has to go back to. No. You know what could be funny? Like if he like he has to go to college, like go to college this time, and basically like because his son, maybe like wants the basically wants to be in the hotel business since he was a hotel member. But your sister says, "No, I want you to go to school first a little bit." But basically, it's where he kind of has to teach his son not to, not to be like Animal House party level,
yeah.
Uh,
So something like that. I don't know, but I know Shooter McGavin is coming back. But from what I've heard, it's like basically Adam Sandler's the coach this time.
Okay.
And,
hmm.
and I heard he wants to cast his nephew in the lead role.
So yeah, what's his name? Oh my gosh, what was his name? The African American guy in
Carl,
Happy Gilmore. It's all in the hips. It's all
All
Carl
in,
in
Weathers.
the hips.
all
Carl
in,
Weathers.
it's all in.
You would end up being Chubbs. You'd end up being Chubbs in the
Oh yeah,
second film.
Yeah.
Let's
Rest in
hope he
peace,
doesn't.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah, let's hope Adam doesn't get eaten by an alligator in the second one.
Well,
Crime.
what's I don't know what Eric, you're more the animalologist. What's the what's another animal that maybe what's another predator animal that's on golf courses besides a crocodile?
Um, I guess depending on where you're at. I mean, if you're in Montana, I mean, you'll see antelope and deer. But yeah, I guess it just. I
There you
mean,
go.
it.
There you go. He gets attacked by a no. I know what he can get attacked by.
Wait, I just thought of this. Sometimes, depending on where you're at, like if you're down to like Florida, you'll have to deal with like anacondas and giant pythons. So
He just gets swallowed by a snake.
yeah.
I was gonna say if he's in Montana, he could get attacked by a moose. Or that. Well, actually, I don't know. That one could be funny. An anaconda just gets have Adam Sandler fight an anaconda.
That would be funny.
Um, but no, like out of all of his movies, though, I mean, it would be interesting to see. It would be interesting for Waterboy 2. That one would be interesting. Like, I don't really know what you do with that. Like,
Well, if they're gonna do it, they might want to do it soon because I heard that Kathy Bates is going to retire.
Oh my goodness, Kathy Bates.
I was saying this for the longest time. If they made a new Friday the 13th, imagine, especially after seeing her role like in Misery, imagine her as Pamela.
yeah.
Don't worry, Jason.
Here's the other thing. I think you know what they could do that would be really funny. I know they kind of introduced his daddy at the end of the movie, if that really was his daddy.
What?
But I know who should play.
Oh yeah, yeah. In The Water Boy.
I know who should play the daddy.
Who?
You got to picture him in that like leisure suit sort of thing, but Sam Elliott.
That would be funny.
Sam
Especially
Elliott is
have
Sam.
Sam Elliott just playing a complete idiot, like because unfortunately, Bert's dead, so you can't have Bert. But I don't know. I mean, I guess you know, I don't know. Like, there's so many great. I mean, Adam Sandler. Some of his Netflix movies. What I like about them is like, yeah, some of them aren't that good, but like Adam Sandler, I still always love him. The fact that he just makes some movies that are just like you can just tell like he just wants to have fun. Like I know Eric's totally favorite movie, Grown Ups.
Oh yeah, totally my favorite Adam Sandler movie. And I mean, it's not like that. It's not like it's funnier than Happy Gilmore.
What I think what I like about that movie is that I can see what it is. It's just Adam Sandler making a film with his buddies. That's it. And I think that's what makes the movie. That's what makes the movie. And like, and then it's the first one is at least it's just them riffing on Rob Schneider. Which that's just funny. And so it's just but at least and even Grown Ups 2 has its charm too. So I mean, I'm not expecting like a great movie when I put in. Sometimes I kind of call those drinking movies. Like I just want to have a beer and have a good time watching them. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the newest Adam Sandler movie on Netflix? The
The
one
one,
where he's in space.
yeah, I did see that.
You haven't seen that one?
I
No.
did
It's
see
it's
that.
pretty good. I did. So like I do like those performances where he just completely separates himself from that. You know, like Click. There was a very serious part in Click where
There was.
he stepped away from that character.
Yeah.
The that,
In Uncut Gems, he also stepped away from that.
right.
Like
Well,
I swear, like spoilers for the movie Click, but I feel old for saying this. It's almost 20 years old. But yeah, that scene in that movie Click with his dad, that makes me cry every time.
It's pretty
And
good.
yeah, when I first saw that movie in theaters, I was so caught off guard. I'm like, I wasn't expecting like for me to cry during that movie. It's because when you go see like when you see the trailers, you think it's gonna be like some goofy Adam Sandler movie, but then you actually watch the movie and then
And
you
there's
end
a
up.
lesson behind it. Like there is an actual moral to the story. It's a good I really like Click. I really do like Click.
I also
yeah.
like it has a very, very, very powerful message to it, and
Mhm.
it really makes you think about life and your time and yeah, and I mean knowing that everything you have will be gone within like the blink of an eye, and yeah, like that I argue is one of his best movies. It's because that you get the best of both worlds, like that you get the funny Adam Sandler, but also the more serious Adam Sandler too. And yeah, like I swear, like I cry like a baby every time that I watch that movie, especially at that scene with his dad.
But when did you become a sissy? Oh no,
But yeah,
I no.
but yeah, I guess you could say it in other words. That movie sure clicked well.
I and the fact that that movie almost got sued.
I heard about that. It's because just by a huge coincidence, there is a Goosebumps special with the same title and the same concept.
Really? I was not aware of that either.
But yeah,
And
and Happy Madison almost got sued, but then ultimately both parties agreed it was just a coincidence.
yeah, no, it's just no, and even Adam Sandler's the latest movie when he was in space. I saw that. Oh my gosh, like I mean, it it's like a very surreal movie where like Adam Sandler is in space, but he's hallucinating things, or is he? Basically, because he's in space and isolation for years. So is he hallucinating things? It's interesting
Right.
how I would highly suggest anybody watch it. I don't remember what the name of it was. Was it? I think it was just Spaceman or something, wasn't it? Something like that.
I think so. It was something really simple like that.
And actually, because of that movie and Netflix, Adam Sandler became the highest paid actor in 2024.
Wow.
So there
Not
you
bad.
go.
Cool.
He beat The Rock.
That's well, there you go. That's sure something.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
and yeah, and if you actually look at the top paid actors world, around the world, there's one list, one guy who, if you look this up, it's all public. It's on according to Forbes. They said that the top actor in the world, one of them that would surprise you, but not if you think about it, even though he hasn't done a movie in the U.S. in a while. Jackie Chan is on that list too. He's like number 10.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
No, well, it's because Jackie Chan has to charge so much for acting roles because he can't get insurance because he puts himself at risk.
Mm. And that's a conversation I had with somebody else too. And it's like, people like Tom Cruise, like, sure, do your own stunts, like be the cool guy or whatever. But in reality, if something ever did actually happen to you, you would set the production back months, if not longer. And, that's people that you're not giving the opportunity to have a job.
Well, Jackie Chan, I think it was Project. I think it was Project A, where he jumped, and he wasn't satisfied with the take, so he jumped again. They He actually hit his head just right, where Jackie Chan actually has a hole in his head because he broke he and the stuff that Jackie Chan did for our entertainment just to luckily, like Tom Cruise, from what I mean, I know he just broke his leg on set, which that's a serious injury, but Jackie Chan like actually broke bones for our entertainment and all this other stuff,
That's crazy.
and even but nobody can top Johnny Knoxville,
Dude.
right? Right, Eric?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Do you want to tell our lovely guest what Johnny Knoxville broke for our entertainment?
For your entertainment.
Our
Yeah,
entertainment.
he broke his baby maker.
Yes, he was
During
riding.
stunts in one of the Jackass movies.
He was riding. He was about to ride a motorcycle, and he didn't really know how to ride the motorcycle, and he sits. So they're sitting there saying, "Okay, if you crash, hang on to the bike, otherwise it's going to come down right on top of you." And he's not really listening because he's really excited. He then lets go of the bike. The handlebar of the bike lands directly
Oh,
on his pecker,
oh my
and he
god.
sits there and said, he felt relieved. Like he said, it felt like I was peeing. But he knew better. He knew better to go to the medical guy on set and said, "We need to take you directly to the hospital because you might have internal bleeding."
Oh my god. No.
Oh,
And so then he sits there, and then he sits there and says, "Yeah, I had to have a catheter for 3 years." And he said, "But it still works. I managed to still do what it needed to do with the catheter." Like, man,
No.
man, I'm just so no. Anybody who sits there and complains about Johnny Knoxville, I'm like, he takes Tom Cruise, he takes Jackie Chan, he he was a good sport about it. He sits there and says, "Why couldn't I break a leg or an arm? I broke the only organ I care about."
No, those Jackass movies were crazy.
yeah. In my opinion, the funniest one definitely had to be Jackass 2.
Well, yeah, because they were all like drunk, drunk when they were doing that one.
They were on drugs when they made that, like, especially during like that puppet scene during Jackass 2.
Oh,
I was
don't
okay,
remind me. No, I totally
but
forgot about that.
I just reminded you. Sorry.
Oh,
That's what that's one of the things I like I love Jackass, but I'll stick with Impractical Jokers because at least those guys can just have fun a little bit.
and there was that bit with the mouse and the cat. Yeah, the mouse costume
Yep.
and the
Oh,
cat. Oh my god.
well,
But yeah,
did you see Jackass Forever?
I did.
I have not actually seen the last one.
Well, the funny thing is they have it. They brought some new people, and they brought this girl on, and
Which
like
was there for Jackass.
this girl is like tougher than the guys doing it. Like she actually tased her tongue.
Oof.
Um,
Oof.
and it's just like some of the stuff they did. It's like, oh my gosh, like and Johnny Knoxville has said that this is his last one that he's
I
doing. Well, because when he did Action Park, like Johnny Knoxville did not do a whole lot in Jackass Forever. Spoiler, because his body is pretty much shot. Like he got Action Park. One of the things that another injury he had. So this part of his eye, this bone right here that connects your eye, disappeared. Like so, they had to like use the special glue to like glue in his eye because if he would sneeze,
Oh,
and so he was ordered by the doctor, do not sneeze for 3 weeks. I'm like, that's kind of hard to do.
that's wild.
So
Um,
how? Oh my God! Imagine all the mental gymnastics he had to do to not sneeze.
well, you have to sit there. Uh,
Get out
This
of
is
my
how he sneezes.
head.
like they had to film the entire right side of him because his body was just like so bruised up that makeup couldn't hide it.
Wow.
Action Park, because oh my gosh, I mean, some some of those guys, it's like I people have always said, well, why can The Rock and Tom Cruise not get insurance, but Jackass can? I'm like, well, keep in mind they have Paramount and MTV behind them, so they have probably some pretty good lawyers.
I would say so. Oh my
So
God! Like the thought of him sneezing and then his eye pops out. Like somebody needs to use that like as a
No.
in a horror movie or something.
Oh.
okay, we'll totally cast Derek in that.
No.
Yeah, and
So
when one of you mentioned the part with the mouse, it made me think of that scene in Terrifier 3. I don't know if you've two seen
I
Terrifier 3.
haven't seen it yet. No.
yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah, Derek. But yeah, I saw your comment about the first Terrifier, and
No, I really wanted to like it, but like, Art does a really good job. The girls do a really good job, but like there's almost no story, like there's no like why or you know.
Terrifier 2 is better, I feel like.
oh yeah,
Terrifier 2
Terrifier,
is
yeah,
so
definitely better.
again, I like Art. I like the character that they chose for him. His facial expressions are really good. I like Sienna. It felt like it was gonna like go somewhere, and maybe that connection is in Terrifier 3. Maybe I'm just missing something, but it felt like it was gonna lead up to like an actual storyline, like a reason why, what's going on, what's happening. But again, it's just no exposition, no real explanation. But it does a really good job for an indie film, and it does a really good job of showcasing the special effects and practical effects.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
yeah,
it Terrifier 3 does it. I think we're going to get some of the answers that you're looking for in Terrifier 4. I think it's um but oh, you know what? That actually reminds me of a question. So Eric and I were talking about something we wanted to do since Art basically is a new horror icon.
definitely yeah. At this point, yeah,
We wanted to make sort of his, if he's basically Freddy, because that's the thing that Damien Leone said that he kind of based him on. So if you were to make his Jason, what would you do with that? Like a horror movie rival to him. So eventually we could get Art versus said character.
Huh. Like like my own original character, or something that's been in an indie film lately.
Your own original character.
Oh man. It does give me an idea. I do, because I grew up in the era of killers and slashers. Like there was Chucky, Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, Leprechaun, like literally like so many different like iconic horror characters.
yeah.
And
Right.
today, like there's not very many. So like I was really, really, really got me thinking, like who would be like what would be a good, like iconic character. And so I started thinking, and I am working on the concept of a cabin in the woods esque storyline. And so I've written a couple short scripts, and this is something that haven't written yet, but it is very much in the process.
Hmm.
So it would
Well,
be something along the lines of like Hellraiser meets, like Jason.
huh? Like first two Hellraisers, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Because
No,
the first,
it kind of like goes off in its own direction there for a minute.
yeah, because the first three Hellraisers are good, but the first two are the good ones. After that,
No, I don't know what they had that, like, it was fun. I totally see what they did. Like Jason X and Leprechaun in space. What was that one where it was Hellraiser, but it was like all in a video game or something like that.
was that
Yeah,
Hell? Was that Hell World or something like?
Hell World, yeah, yeah.
That one was cool, and funny enough, I think was okay. Okay, forgive me. Like somebody sits or says in the chat, like, well, actually, this because both movies there was two movie one of them two of them that came out in 2005. I think that one. I think it's Hellworld that actually had Henry Cavill in it.
yep.
Did it
Yeah, I got
really?
it right. Somebody's not going to sit there and tell me wrong information.
Did it really have Henry Cavill in it?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna look this up. Yes, there was a Hellraiser movie that had Henry Cavill, but which one was it? I think it was Hellworld. Yes, it is. It is Hellraiser Hellworld.
Really?
Uh huh.
And so that's the one where they find like the statue, and the dude brings it back to his penthouse, right?
Yep. And
I
and and it also has Lance Henriksen.
Lance Hendrickson. Oh my gosh, yes, a legend.
I I'm going to be honest. Like it's been so long since I've seen like all the Hellraiser movies that I kind of uh, I after like four, they all kind of blended together, So it's like because a lot of them they just put Pinhead just to get the rights to the point
Right.
where Doug Bradley said he's done,
Hmm.
and
No,
I respect Doug Bradley. He could have handled the situation better, but like I get where he's coming from because he just said the scripts got crappier and crappier, you know, and I get where he's coming from, and like I even saw the remake. And I had no issues. For anybody that says this, I had no issues with who they casted as Pinhead. It just, I just didn't find her intimidating. You know what I'm saying?
it definitely didn't. No, oh my gosh. So in the first Pinhead, or in the first Hellraiser, when Pinhead, he's got her father or stepfather, like all strung up with the hooks and everything, and she comes into the room, and he turns to her and, "This is not for your eyes." Like, oh my gosh. And there's, like, oh my gosh.
That's
I love it.
I love I loved at least the first three Hellraiser movies. Oh, I'm gonna here. I got a question for you. Speaking of Hellraiser, so who did it better for the song, Lemmy or Ozzy?
Ozzy.
Fair enough. Well, either one's like the right answer, because it's like you got to pick Lemmy or Ozzy. I personally prefer Lemmy, but can't complain about Ozzy.
Yeah. No, so like Hellraiser, when I say like Hellraiser-esque, so I'm like a huge fan of, like horror, general horror, but like, so what's described as like cosmic horror, like, um what is it?
Lovecraftian horror, sort of.
Lovecraftian horror, cosmic horror, like otherworldly beings,
Mm-hmm.
um or like Event Horizon is a really good example of like cosmic horror.
I
like the.
Mhm.
But
Well,
go ahead.
even some of the I love learning about the my dad. Was telling me some stories that because he grew up in a town in South Dakota called Yankton, and they have he was telling me stories that Native Americans were telling him stories about some of their different beliefs with their little demonology and everything that they believe in it. Like, man, some of those need to be made into horror movies.
Uh-huh.
No, there's definitely some legends out there that I've heard that are pretty freaky. I'm sure one of the biggest ones that everyone's familiar with is like skinwalkers, wendigos, things like that. But like even things like the little people, stickmen, doe woman. But it's also hard to. I guess it's hard to make those kind of films and like include the right amount of culture and without
Mhm.
appropriation and things like that.
Well,
I do want to make like horror films and things like that, but it's kind of like, so we have in our tribe, in our tradition, we have coyote stories, right? And so basically the coyote is our brother. He's brother coyote. He's up to mischief and no good, and these are like his stories about his adventures and things. And so he's a trickster. He goes out there and he does things like that. Well, we're not supposed to tell coyote stories unless there is snow on the ground. And so like it's like, yeah, like let's make like a film, or let's make like a comic book or whatever. But you could you read that comic book if there wasn't snow on the ground traditionally? Like respectfully.
yeah, that's kind of the thing that I would say that you might have to just ask one of the elders, or somebody who might know that, because it's like, no, like there's some fascinating stuff. Like, I love, you know, um, I know how one of the things that's not talked about, we all know history and everything, but like John Ford and everything, the Native Americans loved his movies, and they actually even adopted him into the tribe. I think it was some tribe in Wyoming. So
Okay.
I thought that was pretty interesting, and he was very appreciative of it, and I mean, one thing, there's so many stories that I would love to, that I think would be really cool to see, because like we meant the Wendigo, the Stickmen, it's fascinating, because it's like, man, some of those are some freaky stories.
I I'm not a huge fan of the woods anymore, if I'm being honest with you.
Fine.
um, well,
Oh,
there's one actor who I really appreciate. He was, I can't pronounce his last name. It's Martin, but he was in the Magnificent Seven remake. Remake. He played the Comanche warrior and everything. I really like him as an actor, and he's been like doing some amazing roles. It's like Martin. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his last name.
okay.
But
I'll
he,
have to
he's
I'll have to Google search him later.
yeah. Well, he's a really amazing actor, and like it's like, man, this guy has the potential to be a lead.
Oh,
So
Gesundheit. And it's
thank
rather
you.
ironic. Yeah, of course, it's rather ironic that you sneeze, because we were mentioning about sneezing earlier.
Yeah, no, there goes my eyeball. Uh,
that if that happened, then Eric will definitely be clipping that.
it's all been led up to this bit. I go off camera and I come back and I've got my eyeball hanging.
That would be
So
that would be a fun bit.
right,
yeah.
totally. the stuff we do for our entertainment. um,
If I had a crew, give me a fake eye, you know.
So yeah, you know, reminds me of when I did my second movie, when I played Amber Turd. Yeah, I mean, you heard that right. I played Amber Turd in a movie that I made. But yeah, anyways, during that final shot, you know, it's me wearing the Amber Heard mask, and I'm just lying there like on the cement. It was at that time when I was dealing with back pain at that time. So for me to lie down on the cement with back pain, that was rough.
oh yeah, and he did it without alcohol.
Yep, and I did it without alcohol too. And yeah, and it was during, you know, the sequel bait ending, which Ty knows about. But I mean, since you know Derek here is in part three, you know, but yeah, when I first met you on Facebook, I remember I told you about it, how like Amber Turds, you know what?
Yeah, no, it was very bizarre.
Yeah, like everybody was saying that sounds like something right out of South Park, like about how her vagina and then becomes a portal.
Well, you know, here's my thing. What I love about the things that piss me off series is it's basically South Park meets Monty Python.
Pretty much, yeah.
And here's my thing, though, Eric. Um, I also want to say thank you for doing that too, because guess what you did?
What?
You by you being a dude, you played a woman, you appeased the ESG score.
Never thought of it that way, but you know, that
Um,
works.
so, but no, I thought that no, his script though is something else with you know the movie. I hope that the movie can definitely get made because oh my gosh, I mean, so many hurdles with just editing and like I think that I like I like the writer. Shout out to the 406 boys. What he came up with for the making of title, Nine Reels of Hell.
9 reels of hell.
Yeah, because we've gone through hell getting the movie made because when so we got permission from one of the churches to go film there, but then right as soon as we showed up, the church said, "Oh, sorry, you can't film here, and if you do, we are going to sue you." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? When we just arrived."
That's why you should. That's why next time, if we get permission to film at a building, you're going to sit there and say, "Hey, can you please sign this?"
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that for now on. You know, after that, and yeah, and then you know, I've been having issues on my computer with editing the movie, so that's why someone else has to edit it. It was supposed to come out in 2023, but then you know, so many delays, and I'm not gonna lie. Out of all the movies I've made, that one's and now of course I certainly had a good time, you know, filming with Derek, but a lot of the other issues I've had to deal with, not been fun.
Oh no. Um, well, and then we had to deal with in then dealing with then the recent hurdle, dealing with a idiot who don't even not even going to give him satisfactory. So,
Nope.
but no, just oh my gosh, I can't like. But hey, I always tell this story to Eric. Cecil B. DeMille, when he was making the Ten Commandments, he was in his early 70s at the time when he made it. He was filming on location in Egypt. He climbed to the top of this pillar, fell off the ladder, broke his leg, and climbed right back up and continued directing. He also during the set of that movie was experiencing extreme chest pains. Come to find out, he was smart enough to sit there, go say, I think I need to go to the hospital. Come to find out, if he did not go to the hospital, he would have had what they would call a widow's maker heart attack.
I haven't heard of that. What is that?
Death.
Death.
Like, yeah, if he did not go to the hospital,
Well, what causes that? What are the circumstances of a widowmaker's heart attack?
It could be a number of things. You're big. You're a big guy. Just because Kevin Smith, that's the one that Kevin Smith had when he had his heart attack. But he was smart to go to the hospital. But they said what happened with him, it was just stress. Because George, I mean, it even happened with George Lucas making Star Wars, and then even Steven Spielberg had 2 heart attacks on the set of Jaws.
Yep.
Really?
He did not
Huh.
have fun making Jaws, which I gotta give him props, knowing that he went through all that. But yeah, I guess you could say it was not a very jawsome time.
It was like actually, Eric, you've talked about making a. You've talked about it. How there should be a movie about the making of Jaws.
Oh yeah,
I
certainly.
I actually just thought of a title.
What?
You would have to do something like the the waters of hell,
Yeah.
because
The waters of hell.
that movie was I nobody like Steven Spielberg has said that the movie's going to make all of us feel old next year. I think we realize what the anniversary is.
The 50th anniversary of Jaws.
And he said, Steven Spielberg, that movie came out 50 years ago. He says to this day, he still has nightmares about Jaws.
No wonder why that he didn't do any of the Jaws sequels.
Well, I mean, to be fair, would you want your name attached to Jaws the Revenge?
Yeah, Derek, have you ever seen Jaws the Revenge?
I vaguely remember it when I was a child, and I do not remember it being very good. I remember I loved the first Jaws film.
Yeah.
The second one was like
It was okay.
it was like the one where they're like racing boats, right?
Yeah.
I think what I remember most as a kid, at least, was Jaws 3, Jaws
Uh-huh.
1, and Jaws 3. Those were Jaws 3 was really fun. Jaws 1 was obviously the best.
Yeah, then there's Jaws 4.
Yeah,
And
Jaws 4.
then there's, but also remember Jaws 5, right?
Is there
Unofficial.
another one?
Well,
Unofficial.
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 It's called
Okay.
Cruel. It's called Cruel Jaws. So get this. It stars a not Hulk Hogan. It's that they actually hired a lookalike to look like Hulk Hogan. But this might tell you the quality of the movie. There's a sad scene where the guy's talking about his daughter who has cancer. Guess what music they play?
What?
Circus music.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know. Like it's literally, Eric. I'm sure you can do that up here. Da, 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 da. Yeah, they literally play that at this like sad moment where he's like talking about his daughter dying of cancer, and it's if somebody sits there says in the comments like, "Yes, I don't want to see the movie again. I just remember seeing that line and like I don't even." But it's just either way, it's a sad moment in the movie, and it's like, wow, why would you play circus music for a sad scene?
Reminds me
Like
of Halloween 5. Whenever you see the cops, there's that clown music going on. Like, oh, that is so cringe.
that's like
Which one was that?
Halloween 5.
Did it have a title to it?
Yeah, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
The Revenge of Michael Myers. Okay. I actually just got done watching the Rob Zombie Halloweens a couple nights ago.
Nice.
you know
And what are your thoughts on them?
I like them. I mean, honestly, there could have been a lot more meat in the first one. Like now that I'm not like fangirling over, Rob Zombie, but there could have been a lot more meat in the first one in terms of like the night itself.
Mhm.
The first one was really just like an introduction to Michael Myers. I might have some kind of bias because I love Rob Zombie and all of his works, but I do really enjoy it. The second one was pretty good.
I like. Here's my thing. I actually liked. Rob Zombie's the first one. It's okay. I mean, there's a part of me, I like, I mean, obviously, I think I like Scout. She was almost a little too cute to play Lori. But and I also really, but the second one, like, what I don't know, like, it's one of those like weird movies, but like weird in a good way. Like,
Yeah, it is. Like during those scenes, like with his mom on the white horse. I mean, imagine watching that high. Like,
okay,
yeah,
well,
there was a white horse.
yeah, well, hey, we would love to talk soon, but we, continue this on. But hey, we'll have Derek again on, hopefully, right? So,
Oh yeah, certainly, yeah. And so, usually what we wrap it up with, we will have our guests, give advice to actors or anybody pursuing the entertainment industry,
mm,
and and uh, and yeah.
oh, oh, goody.
Oh, and he froze at a really really funny time with the.
He froze at the end. Oh my gosh. So, hopefully he'll come back, but I hope he shows.
Oh,
All right. Well,
you could so make a meme out of his face.
we'll be sure. That'll be great. We'll be sure to do that.
Right.
But anyway, I thought I heard something.
But yeah. Yep, he's definitely frozen. So.
Okay. Well, hey, if all right. Well, hey, we hate to cut you there, buddy, but you know, we
I
got
would.
places.
Oh shoot. All right.
Oh,
Well, maybe he'll. All right. Maybe he will come back. So.
well, we got. All right. Well, hey,
Do do
we'll
do 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 do
all
do
right.
do.
We'll give it 5, and then if he doesn't, we'll sit there. Bye.
But yeah, I mean, since we got Ted here soon, so
Yeah. Well, that was fun. So
that was fun. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like if it wasn't for the Ted interview, we could have gone on even longer.
sail the high seas with Derek.
But yeah, Derek definitely is a pretty cool guy, and yeah, he's extremely talented.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you in the back what I thought of,
Okay.
and you're gonna sit there and like I know you so well. You're gonna sit there and say, "Huh, I never thought about that," but it seems like a good idea. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest here to your guests and for sit down by the fire, but um, I think we'll just continue the conversation on next time, and then knock on wood before get Derek back on because I want to. We'll get ready for the next interview because I have to pee.
Okay. Well,
So
when you gotta go. I guess you're in trouble.
I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to Europe.
All right. Well, I'll wait for Derek, see if he comes back. If not, wrap it up.
Yeah. All right.
All righty. Let's see if he comes. Oh, I can hear my spoiled rotten beagle. Yeah, I'm starting to think Derek's not going to come back.
Hopefully, I didn't have a naked gun moment.
Nah, you're good. But yeah,
Well, hey, even if I did, I would sit there and say, "Well, awesome." The folk sit down by the fire, heard me pee.
we gotta go. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna come back. So I guess we'll wrap it up. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, you know what? I guess Eric, just to so this podcast doesn't end so abruptly, what do you need to plug? And what's your advice to actors?
Candace Rose from Halloween Ends, Stranger Things, She-Hulk, a few other projects. Yeah, she's coming on Sit Down by the Fire. Terry McMinn, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, she's coming on, and yeah, and a few more guests are coming on. The third Pissed Off movie, and yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, we'll have Derek on again, and we'll sit there and say, well, hopefully he doesn't freeze this time.
Yeah, definitely knock on wood. But anyways, I'll see you all next time.
All right, see ya.